Well, it looks like yet another trailer dropped again for Silent Hill F, right after I uploaded my analysis of the previous trailer from March. It figures, but hey, I'm not complaining. The more Silent Hill we get, the better. This time I'm not waiting around to do my analysis, so let's get right into it. We finally get to see a lot more of the monsters, Hinako's friends, and finally get a good look at some visceral melee combat, and it did not disappoint. The gameplay and combat here looks really intense, brutal, and very satisfying. This time we get no guns, just pure melee combat, which I feel really fits the setting of the game being in 1960s Japan. I absolutely love the look of the monsters. They are so much better than the monster designs in Downpour. I absolutely love the ball-jointed mannequin-like doll one, and the monstrous, jawless Sakuko shown at the very end of the trailer, which reminded me of the jawless girl from the Ju-on movies. The Scarecrow schoolmate monsters also looked really good as well. Their faces also looked like the same type of face as the slit-mouthed woman shown in the second trailer. And the big guy reminds me of an updated version of the insane cancer monster from Silent Hill 3. This trailer really showed off more of not just the creatures, but also a look at Hinako and her friend's relationship, and I'm getting major Higurashi vibes here. Like Ryukishi's Higurashi, it seems like Ryukishi will be exploring a lot of Hinako's inner feelings, her personal drama, and some type of conflict or struggle regarding the nature of her relationship with her friends, especially the Sakuko girl and the boy Shu. From the dialogue at the beginning, it appears like Hinako doesn't come out very often, but is doing so now because she is feeling lonely. If we go to the Silent Hill F website, we see more in-depth character info and descriptions of Hinako's friends, which give us a little bit of an idea of who they are and what the relationship is like with Hinako. The description for the boy, named Shu Iwai, tells us that he is a childhood friend of Hinako who grew up with her. They call each other partners, and he doesn't see anything wrong with being friends with girls his own age, which I must imagine in the 1960s would be pretty taboo back then. His family are also doctors, coming from a generation of physicians in the family. It seems likely that Hinako likes Shu as more than just a friend, and probably has a crush on him as well, or wants to be more than friends. But maybe he doesn't see her that way and just thinks of her as a close sister-like friend instead. When I was writing this up, I noticed that Sakuko appears to have the three-leaf cult symbol on her school uniform as well, suggesting that she may be part of the cult or shrine as well. But the official website now actually confirms it in the character description for Sakuko. It appears like her other friend Rinko also wears the school uniform with the cult symbol on it, which seems to confirm that this cult and shrine have major influence and power throughout the whole village. Sakuko Higurashi is the other girl we see in the trailer, and as suspected, her family runs and is connected to the local shrine we saw in the earlier trailer. Sakuko helps her family with performing some of the ritual duties. It's possible that Sakuko considers Hinako a traitor for maybe leaving the shrine or abandoning her duties, which seems to lead to her being caged by the cult and possibly having to perform the ritual in place of Hinako. Rinko Nishida is the only one of Hinako's friends that we do not see in the trailer, but judging from her appearance, she looks an awful lot like the ball-jointed naked mannequin doll monster we see in the trailer, with the same long hair, smile, and facial features. She is described as being a stickler for the rules, a bit of a gossip, and a busybody. She is also said to have a crush on Shu as well, which would probably lead to hostilities and jealousy towards Hinako for her friendship and relationship with Shu. If she is the mannequin creature, then it makes sense that her eyes and mouth appear cut and sewn shut because of all the lies and gossip she is spreading about Hinako. I could even see her being someone that would report Hinako for breaking the rules, spreading hateful rumors and gossip about Hinako throughout the village, possibly bullying her, or even trying to sabotage Hinako and Shu's friendship. We also get a good look at the monsters and the names of them on the official website. The mannequin doll monster is named Hashimashi, and we also see she wears a twisted grin on her face all the time that she is attacking Hinako. The big guy with the tentacle-like arm is named Ara Abar. Scarecrow monsters are also named Aya Kakashi, which seem to confirm that they are indeed Kakashi, aka Scarecrows. Speaking of which, if we look at the monsters, especially the Kakashi scarecrow-like monsters in the school, they all seem to resemble Hinako and her friends, and some type of guilt or trauma she feels regarding her friends. Like in Higurashi, this proves we will be having an unreliable protagonist and experiencing things through her point of view that may not even be real, like when she thinks her friend called her a traitor. The scarecrows also appear to be wearing masks as well, like cracked porcelain masks, just like a porcelain doll. The hair and uniform resembles their friends, but the cracked face masks on each of the scarecrows actually appear to resemble Hinako herself. Do these masks represent Hinako's own warped perceptions of her friends and how she thinks they may hate her? Or could they be the truth about what her friends' inner feelings and thoughts about her really are? In Higurashi, Ryukishi did this with Keiichi and his friends, where he thought his friends Rina and Mion were out to kill him, that they were constantly calling him a liar and were trying to demon him away and hurt him, when it ended up just being a twisted delusion. Like Keiichi, I think Hinako may be seeing, thinking, or hearing her friends saying and doing things that they are really not saying or doing. Ryukishi is a master at doing things like this, at blurring the lines between reality and hallucinations, making us wonder what is real and what is not. I am so stoked to see more of these kinds of twisted psychological horror, and also exploring the nature of Hinako's relationships with her friends, like Ryukishi did with Keiichi, the main character of Higurashi, and his friends. This time it seems like her friends are also drawn into the foggy otherworld and can see the monsters as well, which leads me to think that maybe her friends aren't real, or that these people are just manifestations of her friends. Speaking of Higurashi, we actually get a nice nod with Usoda being written on the chalkboard in the school. Usoda stands for liar, and fans of Higurashi will remember it fondly as one of Rina's most infamous lines and scenes from the series.
Usoda! 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 Usoda!
The last monster we found out the name of is the big monster with all the dolls fused together on top of a mannequin from the last trailer. This monster is called Oi-Omoi, and now I'm definitely sensing a deliberate doll and mannequin theme here with most of these monsters. Even the Kakashi, which seem mannequin and doll-like with their movements throughout the trailer. As for the scarecrows, it also appeared almost like Hinako could possess the scarecrow in the trailer, almost like she or something else was possessing them, or more likely, her psyche transforming them into twisted monsters resembling her inner thoughts, or perhaps the ugly thoughts about her that she thinks her friends are saying behind her back. If you look closely though, when Hinako examines the scarecrow, you'll see Hinako is possibly pulling out something that looks like some type of pin that is attached to the scarecrow, or something that seems to come off them, like a pin maybe holding them in place right before she activates and attacks her. Is Hinako maybe taking something or collecting something from these Kakashi? The trailer does focus a lot on Kakashi or scarecrows and mannequin type monsters, which could mean that the idea I had in my most recent video, that Kuebiko, the Shinto scarecrow god of knowledge, wisdom, and agriculture, could be involved somehow, may well be true. Or at the very least may play a part in the story, or could be the deity that Ibisugoka or the shrine's cult members worship. It is said that Kuebiko has a keen comprehensive awareness and knows everything that transpires around the fields and some towns. It almost seems as if Hinako herself, a yokai, or perhaps even Kuebiko, might be physically possessing or infecting these scarecrows, turning them into evil, twisted manifestations of her friends and classmates based on her inner fears about them and her paranoid perception of how they may secretly hate, dislike, or blame her for something she did, which they consider her a traitor for. There's even scarecrows on the ceiling, which is pretty cool. One looks like her friend Sakuko, the other one looks like Hinako herself with short black hair, and the other one is a male scarecrow that suspiciously looks like the boy Shu that Hinako and her friend were with. The girl scarecrow attacking Hinako with the boy scarecrow actually looks like Hinako with short black hair as well. Most of the scarecrows I can make out in the school looks like either her or her friends. Judging from the scene of Sakuko being captured and held in some kind of cage, perhaps her friends were targeted by the cult shrine members to be sacrificed by Hinako or in place of Hinako. After seeing this new trailer though, I honestly think that her friends are either already dead after having been sacrificed by the cult or Hinako herself, that they are just classmates that bullied her and aren't really her friends, or they simply don't exist at all, and are manifestations or hallucinations of the kind of friends and relationships she desperately wants to have but doesn't. She imagines living a good life and having a good relationship with her friends, but her fractured psyche and the cult's teachings warn her against having friends, which is causing her fears to manifest as having her friends betraying her or her being betrayed by her friends, just like the voice told her they would in the second trailer. On the other hand though, if she did choose her friends over the shrine's cult and having to perform this ritual or sacrifice, the deity or cult might have pulled her and her friends into this other world in order to sacrifice them or force Hinako to sacrifice them and accept the ritual. During the trailer, it seems like Hinako choosing not to go through with the ritual and abandoning the cult and her duties in the shrine might be what Sakuko and her friends are blaming Hinako for, or at least what Hinako thinks her friends are blaming her for, when it's really her own guilt manifesting and causing her to think that they are saying things they aren't, as well as seeing them turning into twisted creatures and monsters. But what if something else is going on here? What if it's something completely different? All this time, Ryukishi seems to be leading us to think that Hinako is the one that has to be sacrificed or performing some kind of horrible ritual. But what if the sacrifice that the cult and shrine wants Hinako to do is to actually sacrifice and kill her friends for some type of ritual for the shrine and its deity? I could definitely see Ryukishi doing this, leading us to think it's Hinako who has to be sacrificed, but instead the choice Hinako has to make is choosing to sacrifice and kill her friends for the cult. It turns out it's not the cult or shrine members that did this, but Hinako herself, because she was forced to by the cult and its deity. This would actually be a pretty cool and unique twist, and would completely flip the script for the game. Finally, we come to the Sakuko monster at the end, who seems to be surrounded by some kind of golden halo that emerges from around her head or behind her right before she screams. Judging from her friend becoming a monster at the end, it seems like the main bosses or enemies in this game will be monstrous versions of Hinako's friends that she will end up having to fight. I think this will eventually end up leading to Hinako having to fight some type of monstrous version of herself that will transform into the final boss at the end of the game. Well, that's all I noticed in the trailer for now. This time it's a bit of a shorter and quicker video, but I just had to get this out. If I missed anything, please let me know. This trailer was really great and I can't wait to get my hands on the game when it comes out. I only wish that Konami would start doing collector's editions with figures or statues, which would be pretty cool. So what did you all think of the new trailer? Do you agree that maybe Hinako has to sacrifice her friends and not herself for the shrine and cult? Or do you think it's Hinako that needs to be sacrificed? Did you notice anything I didn't? Or do you have your own theories? Please let me know and we can discuss it in the comments below. Thanks for watching everyone, and see you all next time.